All right, so welcome to INF322 Cyber Operations. For most of you, this is going to be the capstone of your undergrad cybersecurity program. We may have some graduate students in here as well. This course is fairly heavy in terms of workload, so there's lots of labs, lots of materials, things like that. Just know that you're taking everything that you've learned from the entire 4 years or however long you've been in the undergrad program and putting that all together. So we're going to cover a little bit of Linux, a little bit of Windows, basic networking again, reviewing what protocols were and where they're at in the headers. We're going to do all of that till about midterm and refresh that, because after midterm, that's where we really start getting into the cyber side of it. But you can't get into the cyber side if you don't remember where you were in a IP packet header. And then that way we can manipulate that packet header and actually cause damage. But if you don't remember how the packet header works, we got to refresh that kind of thing. So with that, you guys should have already taken the INF671 Linux course, so you at least should have some kind of foundation in Linux. However, in this course, you're going to want that refresher before we get into the Linux section. So week 1 in this course is always taking you through the Linux refresher. Some of you may have already done this course. Just do it again as it reminds you of everything in Linux. So you click on that Linux refresher and you're going to click on this Cisco Netacad link, and it's going to automatically enroll you if you log in. It'll be the INF322 Linux refresher. So once you're in here, you come down, put in your login for Cisco Netacad, your full name, and go ahead and hit submit. It'll dump you into class. That's what you're going to work on for this week. There is no real assignments. You're just going to read through material. It's really short. It's only about 8 hours worth of material. It's not even 8 hours kind of material, especially where you guys already know what Linux is. You're just remembering all the commands that are pertinent out there. There is this link up here at the top that shows you the commands. These are all the commands you'll need to know in the CCNA CyberOps course. So kind of grab this image, and this image is right here in the overview. You can click on those commands and make sure you remember how those all work. All right. The other task we're going to have in week 1 here is making sure that you're in the Cisco Netacad section for the cyber operations. So you'll come out here, click on Cisco Netacad, and you're going to need a seat token, which I need to import the token. So give me a second here to upload that. Oops, wrong one. There we go. And so you'll come down here, click on the PDF for seat token, find yourself, use the token on the left in order to get enrolled. All right. The instructions on how to get enrolled, just follow this instructions right through here. It should get you right into that course section. So once you're out on Cisco Netacad, you should end up, in your view, having 2 sections here. One's going to be their Linux refresher. The other one's going to be the cyber ops that we're going to do all of our material out of. All right. When you're in the cyber ops side of things, once I get everybody enrolled, then I can go ahead and open up the exams for the semester. But I got to do that once everybody's enrolled. Otherwise, I got to do it like 10 times and it really breaks things. I've learned that over the semesters. So we'll get everybody enrolled and then I'll activate all the assessments. The way I do exams in here is you'll have like 3 attempts on all of your module exams, and you'll be able to retake those whenever you want. So you can go up to 3 attempts. The last score stands as to what it is. It's not best score, but the last score stands. And I think most of you guys have taken CCNA 1, 2 with John and Kevin. They do it very similar on that side of things. All right. There is a lot of labs in this semester. So if I click on some of these weeks, which you guys won't see in your description, but in a standard week starting next week, I will give you the overview inside of here as to what you do on Cisco Netacad and what you do on Blackboard. So for example, this one will have you read that first module of danger, which you'll do inside of Cisco Netacad. We will go over the PowerPoint and I will record those class sessions. Those will get posted in here. So generally, because we're a Tuesday, Thursday class, we will use Tuesday to go over all the course material. Thursday, we will finish up any course material and go into labs. There are going to be more labs in some weeks than other weeks. Some weeks we'll have no labs. Other weeks we'll have lots of labs. So And it's usually pretty balanced out between the two. Due dates on all the labs and everything that we talk about in here. It's always at the end of the week, but if you need extra time, especially on the ones where I assign 6 labs versus 1 lab in the next week, it's usually followed up with a week of no labs. And so you can continue on to that second week. I'm not worried about the due dates as much as I'm worried about you actually doing the labs. It's really important in this class that you do the labs. The big grade in this class is at the very end, which is the skills assessment. If you don't do the labs, you can't do the skills assessment. It's that simple. So this is really a trial by fire at the end of the semester. Either you did the labs and you understood how to digest information, or it doesn't do you any good at the end of the semester. When we get to that skills-based assessment towards the end, I'm going to review with you the labs that would be the most beneficial in order to help you for that skills-based assessment. Other pieces of this class, we can go through the syllabus here. So again, that first week, we're going to do the Linux refresher. Then from there on out, everything's outlined in the individual weeks as to what we'll cover. These will match the respective sections out here on the Cisco Netacad. So if you come out to Cisco Netacad, you'll see modules 1 and 2. That's covering the threat actors and defenders group and all that other material inside of there. So you will get this content, modules 1 and 2. You come out here, you'll notice module 1 is the danger and the fighters against war. That matches up with what we have on the syllabus out here of what we're covering next week. So that gets us through. Note that week 13 on the syllabus, that's going to be TBD. That's usually a float week. So inevitably something goes wrong in this semester. It always does when we're doing this class, meaning by wrong that we have a setback. Either we have to cancel class or something comes on. We have a float week, and that's week 13. So that's week to catch up on all your labs if you're behind on them. But at the most part, it's for us to float an extra week if we need the extra week. After that, you do the skills exam, which is that skills-based assessment I was talking about. We also have a skills challenge, which is basically a competition within the classroom to see who can get the most flags in this little capture the flag event I have set up. That capture the flag event has been broken in the last year, so I'm going to try to rebuild that, but give you guys that chance to do that. If not, it's another week to work on the skills exam. So it's just more of a bonus thing. You don't really get graded on it. It's more bragging rights who picked the most in the class kind of thing. All right. The last week is when we will do the course feedback, the final review, and the final exam. I hate that I have to do the final exam during finals week, but I don't have a choice because of on-campus classes. So if it's virtual only, I can bump it up, but I can't do that for the on-campus stuff. So that's kind of the layout. In terms of the grades in this class, because we are so lab heavy, it's worth 40% of your grade. So there's a lot of labs, which means each individual lab is not worth a massive chunk, but the overall chunk of your labs is worth 40% of your grade. So you don't really want to miss labs. And I'll explain when we get into next week how the labs work and when we get into there. Chapter exams are going to be worth 20% of your grade. The skills exam is worth 20%, and your final exam is worth 20%. Anybody have any questions on the grading side of things? All right, stand by my power supply. It's not charging. Now we're charging. Okay. All right, so once we get that in, again, when we get into week 2, all the labs will be done on NetLab, and I'll directly link you out of the LMS. That's all stuff we'll cover in week 2 because that's when the labs start. All right. For the most part, you'll do the labs on NetLab. There's an occasional 1 or 2 labs like these first ones here, where you just complete the lab and submit it back to Blackboard. It's a paper written lab. It's not a technical lab, if that makes sense. The whole goal of this class is to get you to be a cyber ops analyst, to get you to be a cyber operations analyst. All right. So what we're going to do is train you back through all those skills that we talked about before. We'll get you the coverage back over Windows, Linux, the networking, the protocols and such like that. And then you're going to be able to analyze errors as they pop up working in a SIME, which is a security event monitoring system. You guys will be able to react to those type of things coming in and then either notify tier 2 or go fix that problem yourself, depending on what company you're in. And we've had a lot of students go through this particular part of the class and then go get hired as cybersecurity analysts. Because we're teaching the open source basics of all this, all of it is applicable to what you see in the real world. You will see bigger signs out there like Splunk and things like that in industry. They're just way too expensive. So a lot of students won't see those. It's only if you're in the big companies where they can afford that stuff. But I try to expose you to all of that as much as possible. Let's see, other things in this class. I say this in all my classes, but this is one of those classes I saw during COVID. Don't cheat. Don't cheat. And by cheating, I mean, don't think you're smart going out to the internet, grabbing the answer keys for the labs and then submitting those. I'm going to tell you right now, those don't match. The answer keys you find on the internet do not exist for this class. And I know I've had students try to prove me wrong during COVID and this and that. They were silly enough to put answers may vary on some of their things, which means they blatantly copied from the answer key. But when they tried to copy all the answers from those, they gave me MAC addresses that are not in our lab environment. The answer keys that are on the internet are meant to be from Cisco. The stuff that we do in our lab environment is based from NetLab. There is no answer key. How do I know there's no answer key? I wrote the labs for NDG. They don't exist. So don't go down that path of trying to cheat in the class. Not to mention, because the skills-based exam is worth 20% of the grade, you're only fooling yourself if you try to go through the labs and just turn them in blatantly. All right. Anybody have any questions on the labs and how we do the class? The exams, again, you can take those 3 times. In other words, I'm not worried about the course exam material in terms of you using that for your grade. That's why it's only 20%. You should just know the knowledge kind of thing. If that means you got to take the exam 3 times, I don't care. Same way on the labs. You can do the labs in this class as many times as you want. Doesn't matter. I just need you to turn them in at some point. Again, there's heavy weeks and then there's weeks with no labs. Use that to catch up on anything that you're behind on. As long as you're diligent, you won't fall behind. All right, let's see here. Mallory, Kelsey, you guys have any questions? Excuse me.
No, I'm okay.
Okay.
Nope, I'm good. Thank you.
All right. So for this class, again, while being here, I'll have the live meetings. If you guys can join, by all means, please join those. And then I will record these and get those posted. They're going to get posted by 3 p.m. I tried to do it right after class, but this year I have back-to-back classes starting at 9 in the morning till 1 in the afternoon. So I can't submit any of my videos until after I get back into the office around 1:30. So I'll post all the videos at the end of Tuesday, Thursdays. You guys will be able to watch and go back on those. For those of you on campus, you're welcome to come on campus. If you're sick, not feeling well, whatever else, jump on the Zoom session. You're all adults, like, don't bring that stuff in the classroom, please. we all don't need to get sick for it. You don't have, I don't do attendance. I don't do that kind of stuff. Everybody in here is an adult. I'm not your mommy and your daddy. If you want to pay me to come to class and never show up, by all means, thanks for helping my education and getting my pay. So. All right, that's all I've got for today. I'm going to be the really cool instructor, meaning that you guys don't meet on Thursday. What I want you doing is working through this Linux refresher course material. So you can come in here and do it during that time. But if you need that time this week during, school's back in session, I really need to run over here, but I got classes back to back to back, use that class time. We won't physically meet in here on Thursday. I just want you going through that Linux refresher and getting signed up into the Cisco NetAcad course. Then next week, we hit right into the course material and start running from there. All right. Remember that during instructor feedback reviews. All right, cool. All right. Take care. Thanks, Kelsey and Mallory, for jumping on there. Do you guys plan to attend as much as possible through the Zoom?
I plan to.
I do as well.
Fantastic. So if I'm a little late getting the Zoom meeting up or whatever else, just email me because sometimes I'll start class and then forget the Zoom, but a lot of times I have the Zoom up and running, so. All right, take care. Let's have a good semester.